Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast. I am your host, Advin Villa, and today we have, I think, we have this guy. Holy cow! Oh gosh. Okay. He's the captain of the Augustana Vikings team. He's a University of Alberta kinesiology student and the person that changed my life. He's actually in the intro. And we'll begin shortly. And we are live. Welcome back to the Long Term Podcast, everyone. We are here with the Bone Man. All right, Bryce, so tell me a little bit about yourself.
My name's Bryce. Call me Bone Man.
Mm-hmm.
Just kidding. That's not so bad. I don't know. I'm a university student. I'm a fifth year at the University of Alberta Augustana campus. I play on the volleyball team there. And yeah, I went to ABJ with this guy. I raised him. I taught him everything.
No. This guy came up to me. Please work out with me.
No. This is what happened. Bryce, I need a job really bad. Oh, hey, I got you. Don't worry about it. Get him a job. He works there for the next 5-6 years. All right, whatever.
But okay, real talk though. In the lowest points of my life, this guy has been there, and I attribute this guy when I say he changed my life. He truly did change my life. And while we don't hang out that much because you're in Augustana many times, and Cameron's pretty far drive. It's not really, but
it's an hour.
But you know, it's just I think about you a lot, man, and it's just so tell me a bit about volleyball. Just I know that's very important for you.
Volleyball's kind of just been a huge part of my life. Obviously, I grew up playing. I love sports, so I played a bunch of different sports. Multi-sport kid. Gym class was like my shit. You know, that was my thing. But yeah, volleyball kind of took over for me because I was like a soccer guy, and then started playing volleyball, and I was like, oh, I actually kind of like volleyball, and not really spectacular in hockey or soccer, so I just kind of took on with volleyball, started to get okay at it, and I was like, this is actually really fun. Kept playing it, and then kind of my dream was like, you know what, like I want to be able to say I played post-secondary, like university ball. Like I want to be able to say that I did that. So I worked for that. I was lucky enough, blessed enough to get that opportunity. And then I kind of have just been continuing it for the last 5 years here at the Augustana Vikings team, right? And then I'm just going to try and keep playing as long as I can. So yeah, there's obviously, volleyball is very mental sport. I don't know if people, like, if you've played it, you know that your coaches say it's 80% mental, 20% physical. So it's very hard. Definitely some of the highest highs that I've ever had in my life, and it also causes some of the lowest lows. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But yeah, it's I love it still. I love it. It's awesome. So
man, I know you're the captain now, right? And right from the first year, right, all the way to now, what, fifth year?
Mm-hmm.
What are the trials and tribulations of becoming a captain? Because I mean, you have to embody a certain type of mindset.
Yeah. Well, I was a captain in my fourth year and this year. So I was a captain the past 2 years. I don't think of it too much like it's such a big thing to wear. I know like maybe some people do, and that's fine. I think it's just kind of I was lucky enough to get it because I feel like I kind of talk to people, and especially my teammates. Like I communicate with them on a personal level, and like I get to know them and what they're going through and struggling with, or whatever's going on in their life, trying to supporting them. That's what I try to do. So I come from it in that way rather than a on-court hard-ass guy who like orders people around kind of thing. I've come through it that way, or maybe not from like the best example of like this guy's strictly ball, like all he does is gym, perfect in school, gets up, eats nutritional, like great food, whatever, and plays like the best all the time. You know, like that's not who I am. That's I mean, it's what I try to be, but it's definitely not like who I am. So I kind of got to do it through building strong relationships, like what I have with you, but like throughout my teammates, getting to know them. They're part of my family, right? So I treat them like that. If they're gonna go out and have fun, I'll join them. You know, if they wanna talk about something, they can come over and talk about something. You know what I mean? If they want to call, I'll call. If they need advice, I'll try and give advice, and then I can even talk to them and just support them in any way. And I feel like that's kind of how I got that captain role. So obviously there's different routes. Like I feel like if you were a captain of a sport, you'd probably be like, let's lock in long term. You know what I mean? Like you just be going, right. You'd be going off. So I mean, I feel like that's how I got it. And for the weight that it bears, it's not that bad. Obviously you got image things that you have to make sure that you kind of keep a high standard of or whatever, right? So like can't be, but you know, that's not that hard to do. You just got to be a relatively decent person, right? So but on the court though, being a captain, you have to play pretty well consistently. I'm not saying you have to, but you should, or you should try. I mean, everyone should, but it's not easy. I've been a very mental player, so in my head a lot throughout my whole career. So it's, you know, it has been tough. So like last year 4, I was a captain and I was really inconsistent. I was kind of on and off, and that feels bad as a captain. Going on the court, not being able to perform and provide for your team, that's tough, right? This year was a lot better. I was way more consistent. I played way better. I don't know why. Maybe it was just because it's my last year and I said, whatever, I'm going to go out and just enjoy myself. But that's a little bit of weight that a captain can bear for sure. So
right. So when you connect with these people, right, is it mostly, do you guys just conversate on the sport, or is it anything?
Oh yeah.
Because it's mainly volleyball, right? You say it's more than just a sport. It's mindset, right? So what are the types of things that you guys talk about? Because when you got players that are demoralized because they don't feel as confident in the court, and maybe it's just a lot of self-image issues, and maybe they're going through other things outside of their space. Your role as a captain and as a friend, how do you implement having good advice? How do you draw the line between being a good friend versus encouraging them, right? Because you also want to push them, right? You want to be able to hey, do the work, right? I get that your feelings, right? It's just you got to account for that.
For sure.
But also you still got to put in the training. You still got to watch the practices. You still got to put in the diet, the sleep, dial that in, right? How do you measure that?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that actually happens a lot. So with volleyball, like I said, it's very mental based. It's very confidence based, right? Like it's a game of mistakes.
Right.
That's what volleyball is. It's a game of mistakes, basically, right? And you know, those mistakes, it all ends up on you. Like if that point happens for the other team, if that mistake happens, it's on whoever made that mistake. If I shank a ball or that bad pass or something, that's on me. We lose because of me. If I'm a setter and I double touch a set, we lose that point because of me. If I miss a serve, we lose that point because of me, type thing, right? Whereas in like basketball or something, you know, like you know, if you make a pass and it gets intercepted, whatever, you can run back and go get it before they score. It's not an immediate point. You know what I mean? If you miss a shot, it's fine. It's not like, oh, I'm shooting and if I miss, it's a point for the other team. You know what I mean? So like that's where it comes in, and those mistakes can really weigh on you, and it's really hard to get out of that by yourself. So that's why you need support. And sometimes if your coach isn't doing it, your teammates need to do it for you. And then like you said, with finding the balance, that's a tough question, because obviously, you know, when you're in practice, I'm like a light guy. I'm a little goofy. I like to not mess around, but enjoy it, have some fun. That keeps it lighthearted, and that allows me to stay mentally fine. But if I notice
also before we go on, I think the taps kind of like screw up the microphone, like but like, you know, you can tap, but like I think this okay, but like I'll have to cut that out. But so sorry I interrupted. You're finding the balance with
so the balance of talking to guys about, you know, like when to lock in and make sure they're still putting in the work.
Right.
Obviously, we do stuff like that. If guys aren't hitting the gym how they need to be hitting it, obviously it's different for everyone. The role you play on the team, how your body is, things like that. But like, if somebody's not going to the gym, yeah, like I have to go and tell them or like talk to them about it. And sometimes like you can, like I said, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink it. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much that you can do. At the end of the day, it's them if they want to get better. If they want to get better, I can push them and they can take that or leave it. It's really up to them.
Do you ever get frustrated? Just
oh yeah.
I mean, you push these guys so much, right? And you believe in them so much, but like you said, you can take a horse to water.
Yeah.
You can't make them drink it, right? But it's just, do you ever get mad at them? Is that effective? Is anger an effective?
I mean, I don't get mad, but I'm frustrated if my middle blocker doesn't hit the gym. And he
calling him up,
and he and he can't get it could help him if he was stronger. He'd jump higher, he'd hit harder, he'd be stronger on the block. But he doesn't hit the gym because he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. I can't do anything about that. Yeah, it sucks and it hurts our team, but at the same time, I'm not perfect. I'm not the straight A guy going to the gym like 5 days a week. I'm not doing that either, right? So it's kind of like you gotta hold each other accountable for sure. Like in practice, if somebody doesn't go for a ball, like go for that ball. Like I'll be like, go for that ball. But also I don't always do that. Sometimes like, you know what I mean? I'm not perfect. I mess up too, but then they can tell me that too. And I allow, like, that's good to have, we realize that we play university sport. And if you can't take like a little snap or a little bicker or a little, hey, what are you doing? Get your head out of your ass kind of thing. You're playing university ball, you probably shouldn't be if you can't take that. Yeah, like me personally, I don't like that. I've come to terms with it. I don't like it personally because it just makes me feel bad. I mean, maybe I'm just like soft, but I also I can do that too. Like I do that sometimes, right? And you have to be able to take that, and then it's what you choose to do with that. So if my teammate goes, Bryce, come on, you got to dig that ball. You can dig that ball. I'm like, fuck, dude, why'd you like? I know I need to dig that ball. You don't need to tell me, but I can just be pissed off at him and say whatever, or I can be like, fuck you, I'm gonna prove you wrong, and then dig that. You know what I mean? So that definitely happens, and it's like I can't tell people as a captain what to do, where to go, how to play if I'm not doing it myself. It's kind of got to know where you're lying, right? That's why it's tough. But at the end of the day, like I said, we're a university team, and we play volleyball together, but outside of that, we're a family, we're friends, right? So we can bicker at each other like during practice, whatever. But as soon as we're outside later that night, like it's gone. You know what I mean? Which is great. You really need that. I think easily in the ACAC, so the Alberta Colleges volleyball league or whatever, the sports league, we're definitely the closest team. Like easily, I just know for a fact we're the closest team. Like we all live together. Like we see each other awesome, for like 4 hours a day minimum. So it's.
I know you did tell me some stories, and they're great. Yeah. And going back to the training, and you mentioned that you gotta practice what you preach, right? You can't be saying things that you don't do yourself. But in regards to the different positions that volleyball players have, right? They have different regimes, right? And you're a libero. Right, and there's a middle blocker, right, and then there's all the different positions, and you're not a middle blocker, right? So how would you, when you say practice what you preach, what do you exactly mean by that? Because you're not like maybe for your friend Boris, right, or like his training is just different from yours, right? So when you're trying to give him advice is it more like a general sense, like more mindset, or is it more like technical, like hey, you need to work on maybe your squat, maybe your vert, maybe your dives, and am I getting the kind of the terminology right?
Yeah, sure. Like it's both. It's mental and it's.
But you said
technical.
It's 80%.
It is
80%.
It's more mental for sure, but that comes from the person within rather than me. Technical can come from anyone, right? So, but anyway, in season playing volleyball, the gym is not like your number one compared to when it is in the off season. In the off season, that's when you can talk to you guys about, hey, you need to get your squat a little more. You need to get your vert up. In season, it's like, yeah, you can work on that, but the priority is practice and playing. It's the games. Like that's what we train for. That's why we work out. We don't work out to be healthy and look good. We work out to be better at the sport. That's basically how it works, right? So for different positions, like I'm a libero, so I do defense and passing, right? And so my left side's like Boris, I can help him out on passing, right? I could be like, hey, if you just opened up here, drop this leg, turn your shoulders, whatever. He can take that, and that's technical. You know what I mean? Or I go, hey, stand here, read this, you go hands or arms, something simple like that. I can give technical. I used to swing. I mean, obviously, guys probably don't want my advice on swinging because I haven't played it in a while. But I know the game. Just because you don't play a position doesn't mean you don't know the game, right? It's like, you're talking to Severio. He's a volleyball coach, and I think he's a great guy to be a coach because of who he is, right? Now it's not necessary to play a high level of volleyball. Like Severio didn't really play a high level of volleyball. Doesn't mean he's still a good player. Absolutely, it definitely helps with knowledge, but it's who you are as a coach, right? So I know the game, and I can tell people. I can tell my middle blocker who blocks and hits only, hey, you need to get here on this block. If you see the setter do this, he's going this way. I can like read the game and tell them that way. I'm not going to be like, hey, Rick, you need to just come across your body when you're swinging that 50. Like, I'm not going to tell him that because that's not really my place. He doesn't need to hear that from me. He can, game sense, I can help him with. Or mental. If he's struggling and he's hitting balls out of bounds or into the net, I can be, pull your head out of your ass, let's go, put a ball in play. I mean, obviously, it depends on the person. I'm not going to say that to everyone, but the guys who can take it, like it that way, some guys are just like, hey, bro, you got the next one. No stress. I'm going to be there for you if you get blocked. Like, I got it. It depends on the person and the relationship that you have with them, and that's how you talk to them and help them out. So,
what are some keys? What are some advice you'd say to other captains or going through just players that don't listen to them, that don't respect them, right? Because I know you mentioned that you have a great, you're one of the closest teams ever, and that takes work, man. With every single thing, every single facet in life. Right? Whether it be relationships, whether it be health, whether it be wealth, it takes some work. And then when you say that with such confidence, right? No, that's a success in itself, man. That's amazing. I'm really happy for you. What is the secret to that? I mean, is it when people go up to you when you have the night outs, right? Is it sure you're shooting the shit, you're having a good time with the boys, right? But I'm sure it gets personal, right? And you remember these details, you remember the birthdays. Like, how do you become closer with the team? How do you guys, because you live long enough with people, right? And you get to realize that, oh man, like some of these people, you get to see the real them. You get to see the flaws, right? And when you spend so much time with the Vikings, right, you get to see like people are gonna fight. And then what's your role in that?
Like if teammates are fighting?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm asking a lot of different questions.
Yeah, that's okay.
What's the secret to having a good, connected team?
Well, it's having good people on your team, good guys. We're lucky that we have we all like each other. On lots of teams, even that I've been on in the past, there's always like one or two guys that are like, this guy is really not nice, you know what I mean, or
aggressive.
We don't like him. Not that sounds really cliquey. Like, I don't mean we don't like him. I'm saying like he's actually just a mean guy. And he's like he doesn't treat us well. He doesn't, he's rude. He's but we don't have that, which is great, and that definitely helps. We have a group of great guys, and everyone gets along. Yeah, guys might get in bickering events, but like that passes because. It has to. We're stuck with each other 24/7 all the time. We get mad at each other during practice, like I said, but it goes away. Or some guys might have other issues. Just kind of ignore it. Like, look at the bigger picture. Like, we're a team, we're a volleyball team, we're working to be better together at the sport. It's like, what's more important to you? You know what I mean? Like, even like I live with 4 guys on the team, right? Like, so when you live with guys, you always get into arguments here or there. So sometimes I'm pissed off. Me and Boris get pissed off at each other all the time, but like, it doesn't last very long. You know what I mean? Like, might last an hour, and then later that night we're watching Mr. Robot downstairs. Like, you know what I mean?
Great show.
Yeah, it's so good. But
how do you go about arguments like that?
Yeah, you just kind of move. You just don't let it bother you. You just kind of move on. I mean, if an argument is holding you down that much where it requires intervention or some form of like a talk, like it's really not that big of a deal, or you just grow some balls and do it. Like there's been times where there's been like something that's like really, damn, I'm mad at you.
Yeah.
I'm actually mad at you.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna talk to you about it, and we're gonna make up. We're not women, all right? I was just kidding. That sounds really bad. We're not gonna never talk to each other again because of one little instance 4 years ago. You know what I mean? Like we're gonna be like, okay, that pissed me off, and this is where I'm coming from. They'll talk back. We'll work it out. 10 minutes. We're back. You know, that is simple. Like that's, well, it's not simple, but that's what needs to be done. And that's what we do. So
those tough talks though, it's so uncomfortable though. How do you, like when
it's uncomfortable, but
yeah,
you're with your family.
Don't you want to run away from them? It's just like when you're
maybe initially. Maybe initially after it happens for the next half day, full day, maybe at most. But then it's like, again, I'm seeing this guy all the time. Like we're buddies. I'm not gonna let this get rid of everything that we've done and had fun and bonded with over the years. It's like you with your family. It's like you and your brother got in an argument, like a really bad one. You know, you're mad at each other, but a day, 2 days later, you're gonna talk about it and you're gonna make up. You know what I mean? Like that's what happens. So
they're talking a lot, man. The mic can hear this. Very sensitive.
hey.
But and dude, this family, right? And it's just you gotta do what it takes to make it succeed, right? You gotta really, because other people, they matter, right? I think the more I think about myself, right, the more it's just the more burden I am, the more I kind of, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but the more I think of the team, right? Think for the collective. Not a communist, but like, you know, it's so empowering, right? Being in that role. You're responsible for all these people. And can you tell me about the what it's like being a student athlete, just like with all the classes and I'm sure it's difficult.
Just before I move on to that, I want to talk about how others.
Sure.
That's the most important thing, and that's something that I've come to realize in the last little bit. I was always a guy, especially with volleyball, like I need to be the best. I want to be the best. I need to do this so I can say I'm good. I want this. I'll get that. And then I want something more. I'll get that. Like I wanted to make a university team. I got that. Not enough. I said I didn't care. I just wanted to be on a team. I didn't care if I played. Now it's I want to play. It's like, okay, now I'm playing. I want to be a starter. Okay, now I'm a starter. I want to be one of the best libs in the league. You know, pretty close. Well, that sounds
self-proclaimed.
That sounds pretty cocky. No, not pretty close. Like, but like I was working towards it, and I got better than I was. So for me, it was something. Still not enough. I need to go play pro now. You know, and now I'm on that path, and I'm like, you know, but now I'm realizing that it's always about me. I've always been trying to do this for me. Like, I've been trying to climb the mountain so that everyone can see me at the top, rather than me trying to climb the mountain to see the world below. Like me trying to climb the mountain just for me, or just for the world, for me to see the world from above, you know, rather than for everyone to look at me. And it's all about others. It's not about, oh, our team is really good, we win all the games. Well, we struggled for sure. But I don't regret anything because of the people, because of the relationships, the friends, the family that I've made, right? Like that's more important than anything. Basically, I think that like in life, you're nothing if you only think about yourself. It's not about you. It's about them. You suffer for others, you know? So that's what I think.
I had this joke where like my family asks me, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" I go I'm working out. And they're like, "Oh, that's very good for you." And then I go, "It's never been about me though." I think that's kind of the, but like,
it's never been about me, no.
And I'm kidding, but at the same time I'm not, and it goes in line with kind of what you talked about. It's just when you do these things, right? Say you want to be a doctor, and say you want to be the best athlete ever. You want to be the top leagues, right? You want to be wealthy. You want to accomplish all these things. When you climb that mountain at the top, and it's just you alone, you look around you. While the sight is beautiful, if you're up there alone, what's the point? It's so lonely, man. And well, for people, maybe that may make them happy. I don't think for the majority of people it's that fulfilling, right? You need those people. You need those people to climb with you. And I'm a firm believer of your problems are my problems. My problems are your problems, right? I've kind of embodied that. Ever since I met you, I've kind of worked my way to becoming long-term. And that's what I mean when I say keep it long-term. It's just your success is my success. My success is your success.
I was just gonna say.
We all rise together, man. And like when I'm a millionaire, when I'm super famous, when I'm the best person ever.
Okay.
Okay, not trying to be cocky, but it's gonna happen.
Self-proclaimed.
So you're gonna rise with me, man. And you're gonna rise with me. If you just stick by me. We all rise together. And it's tough though, because there's days where I just don't want to do the things that I need to do, right? And it's just like even for podcasting, this is stressful, man. It's like I've been grinding these out, but it's just like I want to get to know people. I want to like increase, like I want to let it be known out there that no one is alone, and I want to carry the message of being long term. And while I still don't have all the answers, I'm trying, and that's the only thing.
And that's what matters.
At the end of the day,
you gotta just try.
But yeah, my question with what it's like being
an athlete.
Yeah, all these responsibilities, right?
All right.
I also, I think they have it easy. They lighten the course load. Because for stats for me, hardest thing ever. But for some reason, he finishes with like an A or something in every single class.
No.
And he studies, what, like 10 minutes every night?
Dude, I'm not gonna say being a student athlete is not that difficult, bro. This shit's easy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Basically, university is easier than high school. I said it. I mean, there's a system. Once you figure out that system, it's not hard. It's not hard. It really isn't. You just go. You don't even need. Okay, it depends on your classes. Obviously, people have different classes, so I'm not gonna go at the engineers and the comp sci majors who absolutely got their work cut out for them. I mean, I'm a kinesiology guy, so I got some sciences.
Right.
I'm staying away from chem. I'm trying to just take. Obviously, I strategically pick classes. I mean, like I have hard ones like anatomy and stuff, but I don't think it's really that difficult. You get the average bio class. You take a psych class. I had to take stats, but I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, if I feel like going to class, I mean, I'll only go. I shouldn't say this on here. It sounds really bad. If I have an 8:30, I'm not showing up. I promise you. All right, I promise you, I'm not showing up at an 8:30. But if it's in the afternoon, sure, maybe I'll pop by. But I don't ever pay attention in class. I kind of just go on my computer.
You guys hear this? He's the captain.
Yeah, but I do fine. It doesn't matter because what happens is you go, whatever, they do the notes. Why take notes? They just post the slides on eClass for you. There's no need. You can just click on the PowerPoints and then just read the notes that they have.
But then being a lecturer, though, that's part of the process, man.
If you want it to be. I don't think it needs to be. Personally, It's basically... I'm not saying I don't do work. Like, obviously, I have to do assignments. Obviously, like, I have to study for tests. But, like, going to class is overrated. You really don't need to do that. You don't need to take my advice. This is just how it works for me. Some classes you do. So, like, for example, when I took calculus, probably go to class. You know what I mean? Like if you're taking a math class or a chem lab, go to class. Don't be stupid. But, like, if I'm taking psych, I mean, it's psych, bro. Like, I'm just gonna go in there and do nothing anyway. So, if I'm feeling it, I go read my manga, play my games, whatever, leave. I don't know why. Maybe it's just so that the prof thinks that I'm showing up and listening, but read the PowerPoint notes, study 2-3 days before a test, midterm, whatever, done. You got your papers to write. They say, read this. All you have to do is just kind of go through the paper, read the paper, think, or you don't even need to read it. You skim the paper and you go, oh, this is good. I'm only going to, you don't need to read a 50-page paper. You might read 10 or 20 pages. And then out of those, you can get your entire paper done. You know what I mean? Like, you can just say, oh, this is a really good section. I'm going to talk about this for like a page and a half. And you just talk about that for a page and a half. And you just fill up the word count. You're done. I don't know. That's how it works for me. Obviously, everyone's different. People like to learn. I know some guys on my team, they're locked in. They're like, they go to every class. They're taking notes. They're doing stuff. They're studying every day, and I know people who are like me, and people who are even worse than me at that. Like one of my roommates Calder. Yeah, easily. Well, not they pass. Yeah, like you remember my roommate Calder by chance?
Yeah, I do. I saw him at the last when I went to
Yeah. So like he's even worse than me. I think he'd have a paper due at midnight, and he'd start at like 9:30. And he'd have an attendance rate. At least I'd show up. Maybe I wouldn't pay attention, but at least I show up. Probably had an attendance rate of like 5% throughout his university career. But now, good for him. Props to him. He still did fine. He still did fine. He's in New Zealand right now for Cairo.
That's what I heard.
Like, good for him. Like, it's all a system, and whatever works for you, kind of figure it out. It's not if they take attendance, go to class. It's easy 10%. You know what I mean? So I did a presentation on Kanye West.
Really?
Runaway.
How'd that go?
I got an A+.
Kanye, you're a big Kanye.
I was supposed to do composers like Beethoven and Mozart and like Bach from like the 1500s, 1800s, whatever. And I was like, I'm doing Kanye West. It was like the only different one, and he loved it. He gave me an A+.
That's awesome.
I know, I love
it. With going back to what works for you, right? What is the process to that? Because I know, I think, like, you just do what works for you, right? It's just, and that's a great advice, right? Because maybe going to lectures will actually take away from what you learn, right? Because maybe you work better by just sitting in your room and going through the notes and consolidating it in your long-term memory, or maybe vice versa. Maybe going up to lectures is having a good attendance rate would be good.
Yeah.
The process to finding the answer for you, how do you go about that?
You just gotta find what's working. Like, that's a hard question because everyone's different. For me, I even throughout high school, man. Like I'd go to.
Great. You did great.
I did good in high school, but I worked pretty hard in high school. Which led me up for university and made it easier, actually. You know what I mean? But like I'd go, like we have to go to class in high school, or they call my parents, right?
Yeah.
You don't do that in university. So I'd go to class. The teacher would be doing the notes with the slides, same stuff. I'd be copying down every single note by hand, not knowing what she's even talking about because I'm so focused on writing. Finish class, no idea what we just talked about.
I never take notes.
Not a clue.
I never take notes. That's why I'm always in class.
Exactly.
Bro, it's like I look around, I'm like, why are everybody takes notes, and I just sit there and I just raise my hand up, man, and it's like a podcast for me, because the teacher, one time this prof like just stopped picking me because I'm like, I raised my hand 5 times.
You're that guy?
I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Bro, sit beside you,
so
man.
worse.
If you and I had a lecture together,
dude, I wouldn't be coming.
You wouldn't be coming.
Oh,
but man, some of my buddies, they're embarrassed.
For sure.
But it's okay.
But like that's the thing. Like I would go home after high school and I would study the notes for the test. That's how I do it. Now it's the same process, except they don't need to go to class or take notes.
Of course, that's all in the PowerPoint.
Anyway,
I know you're super into movies. I know you're super into manga, anime, and you do all these. You really enhance your creativity with watching these films and ranking them, right? And you have your way, and I really trust your instinct, man, because like a lot of the music that I listen to, a lot of the movies that I appreciate, the TV shows, I don't like, maybe my creativity is not as, like practiced, not as well shaped, well rounded as yours, but it seems to be you have a very good eye for these things. I know from a very young age you've been like super into it for as long as I can remember. You've been telling me.
Yeah.
I want to try to correlate this with connect this to the court as well. Like when you go on the court, right? Do you try to embody some of these characters? Maybe on Attack on Titan, right? Maybe not EOT, really. But no. No,
that's
right. That's like separate.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely don't do that.
Yeah.
I just kind of try and go and just have fun and enjoy myself. I don't really connect the two.
No, there's
not really. Like in real life, like obviously, like I'm Batman and stuff, and I protect everyone sleeping. But volleyball is different. It's like once you step on the court, it's like you're no longer in the world. You're just on this court. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing, whatever else around you, whatever else is going on in your life, you forget about it, and you just lock in on right now and live in the moment, kind of thing. But Yeah.
How does that art side of things play into your life?
Oh, dude, it's changed my life so much. It's the thing about art is expressed in so many ways through
Very
media.
subjective.
Yeah, it is subjective, but absolutely. But the thing about art is it's the closest thing to reality other than reality that we have. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's the closest way of like making something tangible that can't be expressed or even or felt or lived, like, or you know what I mean, like it's the closest way to relate to that or feel that or see that or anything like that. Like you can, sure, like yeah, Lord of the Rings, awesome, great film, super great films, super entertaining. It's a fantasy world. You get to live in that fantasy world. It's awesome. It's dope. But like, are you paying attention? Like, what can you take away from this? You're gonna be take the lessons away. You know what I mean? Like, so that stuff, when I take away lessons like that and I take away themes and I just appreciate how art is made. Like there's obviously it's subjective, but it can also be objective, like Pitch Perfect. Love Pitch Perfect. That movie is so fun and entertaining. Like that's been one of my favorite movies forever. Is it better than The Godfather? No, it's not better than The Godfather. But I like them both very much. They're pretty close. I know that sounds horrible because it's The Godfather, but yeah, I mean, you can take things away from it. Like I said, like even you remember Rango?
Rango,
That's one of my favorite films ever.
I didn't really like Rango, but you loved.
It's phenomenal.
Rango.
What we were talking about earlier.
We were talking about
people. It's about others. It's not about you. It's about them. That's directly from Rango, bro. That's directly from. He's like, you learn the character of Rango. He's a chameleon that can't blend in. Like how ironic is that? And then, sorry, I don't need to go off on Rango.
Keep going.
But like, it's all about a story of self-identity, self-journey, and the way that it's expressed through the movie. Like, yeah, sure, that's the theme, but how do they execute that theme? How through explicit, implicit depth, motives, symbolism, metaphors, things like that. Like, it's really beautiful to see it unfold. It can be really powerful. I'm sure lots of people watching have seen La La Land. Tell me that movie didn't make you feel something.
La La Land was great.
That movie didn't make you feel something? Like, there's no way. It's good. It makes you feel something. Like, you've probably felt that before, some form of that in your life. And that's, like, it kind of represents it. Maybe it's not identical to your life or your way, but it's the same feeling. And it's interesting how other people's stories, we can all have our own individual stories, but we all can feel similar feelings,
I think
it's beautiful.
It also increases empathy, man. Like when you see all these, I really like movies where it was based on a true story. Like I watched this Society of the Snow, like rugby players, and they this back in like 1970s. Don't quote me on that, but a long time ago. Plane crashes in the middle of nowhere, the rugby team, and like lots of them died, but a great majority of them survived, and they had to resort to just the most heinous, it's nuts, and it's just to think that this has happened to people, right? And the movie, it actually hit number one on Netflix, which is a great feat. Just people going through just such horrors, man, and having hope, right? And I feel like hope, I see that in so many movies. Like I watched Tonya Harding, and she was just. She wasn't dealt the good cards. Like she had a really bad mother, it was very abusive relationship, and you can feel for these people, right? And there's just, you take away so much from the expressions, and you can just feel for them, right? You can feel for these people, and even if they're like fictional, right? There's
exactly.
Just like I was watching like Attack on Titan, and just like seeing just how that has affected Eren. How that has affected like how his future, and just connecting these things, and the fact that someone wrote that, the fact that another human being. Isn't that crazy?
No, that show is insane.
It's amazing.
By the way. That's the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah,
and that's not subjective. That's objective.
Yeah,
like that's
a great show.
Attack on Titan is one of my favorites. It's not my favorite, but it's but it's definitely the best that I've ever seen.
Midnight Gospel, you recommended to me.
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great one for sure.
When you're struggling, Do you think of any characters, and fictional or non-fictional,
Yeah,
that
well,
that
for
really
sure.
inspire you? Maybe Rango or
Yeah,
maybe
yeah, yeah. Well, like obviously, I don't know. I think of myself, Ryan Gosling.
do you?
Oh, dude, I'm really good in all of my movies. I will say, like I kill it. It's so real. I just watched The Notebook the other day. It's literally my life.
Really?
I'm him, and that's me. That's exactly what is happening and will happen in my life. I promise you.
I don't get that meme. Like, do people
What
just
meme?
claim? Okay, it's not a meme.
I
You're
don't know
Ryan
what you're
Gosling.
talking about. Thank you. Um, yeah, like, cause it's just I don't know, like, you know, it's hard to pick one. I just think of many. I know you know that I post
I know.
1,000 things on my
I
story
love it, man. I
from
love it. Yeah.
mangas, whatever, right? Yeah, it's just taking things from each of them. I mean,
Little
that'd be
nuggets.
from art and media, but obviously when I struggle, I look to God, of course, and sometimes, especially this year, growing in my relationship with Christ is huge, because I've never felt like in my whole life here, like I said, I've had some of the highest highs and lowest lows.
Mhm.
I've had This has probably been my favorite and best year
Mhm.
in everything, mentally,
Mhm.
physically, volleyball,
Mhm.
school, even,
Really?
friends. It's and I can only give thanks to him, because ever since I started focusing on him, realizing that there's something bigger in this world than me. I'm not important. I'm not perfect.
Mhm.
I need help, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. Right? I'm a sinner. Like I'm not. No one's perfect. Right? We all struggle with things. We all do stuff. And I want it to be changed. I want it to be saved. And after accepting, knowing that I'm loved and that I can accept that gift of grace, it changes things, and you want to grow closer to Christ, to Jesus, because of that, right? You want to strive for him and everything. What's funny is Vinland Saga.
Mhm.
You've read it or watched
I've
it?
watched the first season.
So the first season, he's a
Mhm.
murderer. He goes around and kills people. He kills families.
I know
He's
he's
a
the machine.
he's the
Killing
machine for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
But in the second season, he begs forgiveness. He wants to be a better person. He wants to be a stronger, kinder, better person. And it goes through this whole arc of him having no enemies. No one needs to get hurt. He doesn't need to hurt anyone. No one needs to be his enemy.
Mhm.
And I'm like, damn, that's really powerful. That's so strong. And I'm reading my Bible, and that's directly in the Bible. They just realized that Vinland Saga is directly taken out from the words of God in the Bible. And I'm like, damn, this is really just the same thing. And now I'm looking back at other shows, animes, mangas. I'm looking back at those and like learning all those things. It's not about you; it's about them.
Mhm.
You're invincible is just a word. Blah blah blah. Things like that. Really, really impactful stuff.
Mhm.
It's all in the Bible. It's all right there. And that was like mind blowing to me. Like everything that my goal is to be like a strong guy, a strong person. What does it mean to be a strong person? What does that mean? What do you think it means?
A strong person is someone that can sustain a lot of bad, debilitating, negative, just horrific things and still show love and compassion.
Exactly. Right.
Mhm.
That's definitely a huge part of what being a strong person is. And I don't know exactly what it fully entails, because I feel like I'll know when I've become one. You know what I mean? But now it's just the process and the journey of getting there and trying to get there. And that's all in the Bible, and that's all like right there. And that's so crazy to me. Like I felt like I was like, damn, like I never knew that, like that was right there in front of me this whole time, and taking it through that step, it's just been a huge help in helping me become a stronger guy, a stronger man. You know what I mean?
One thing that I've been repeating is this one quote. It's therefore we shall not lose heart, though our outer soul or self is wasting away.
Yeah.
Yet our inner self is being renewed day by day. I love that.
You do love that.
It's just, I mean, there's like you think of the outer self, the physical form. It's just, I feel like it's fleeting, right? It's just you could die at any time. Like you could get sick, you could lose your eyesight, and you could like lose an arm.
Mm-hmm.
But what doesn't change is what's within, or what's within and who you are, right? That's the love, and that's how you spread the energy, and where you put in,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what you're gonna get. What you put in, that's just the give and take, and like you said, that's where all the answers are. And you mentioned Vinland Saga,
Mm-hmm.
and how that how you have no enemies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what about when people are just absolute menaces to you? It's just when there are people, you go through the days, right, and you realize as you get older there are gonna be people that just don't like you for
Mm-hmm.
whatever reason, and for some of them they'll do whatever it takes to bring you down.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with people like these?
You just gotta treat them with love and kindness, man. You gotta forgive them.
Yeah.
That's what life. That's what this. I think that's what life's about, man. It's about forgiveness. That's what I think being a strong man's about. A truly strong person is forgiveness.
Forgiveness.
I think, obviously, it's hard, and I'm not saying that I can do that all the time. Like it's definitely difficult. Like if someone's pissing me off, like yeah, like I get mad, but I have to like stop, sit back, just like realize, like figure out the situation, forgive if, maybe I'm at fault. Look back first. If they're just being mean for no reason, just for the sake of it, I don't think you need to treat them with that because you never know what's going on. Obviously, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy thing to do, but that's why, like I feel like that's the goal of what it should be. Is people are going to be menaces to you, but if you let them be menaces to you and you let them affect you, they win. No. If you don't let it affect you, then
of course,
then you held all the power. Like nothing matters. If nothing can hurt you, nothing can hurt you. Dave Goggins can't hurt me. You know what I mean?
love that guy.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing. And then if you treat them with love and kindness and forgiveness, then who knows? Maybe later that day they go home and they're like reflecting on, damn, I was really mean to that guy today, but he still was so kind to me. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Obviously, it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy.
Right.
I mean, I struggle with that too. Still, right? I'm still working on it, but I feel like that's the goal.
Do you struggle with forgiving yourself?
Yes. Obviously, I do struggle with forgiving myself.
Because I know with I think for me, it's very easy to just, when other people treat you wrong, it's like, okay, you can empathize and you can just imagine what it's like for them. But when I do things, right? When we do things, it's like it's so real and the intention behind it are so, like, you can't even debate it, right? It's just, your intentions, you've done wrong. How do you forgive yourself? It's just...
It's not easy.
No, it's not.
It's definitely not easy. But I'm bringing this back to God here. But if He can forgive you,
why can't you forgive yourself?
Why can't you forgive yourself? I know that's hard, and you can't you don't want to abuse that, obviously, because you want to work to change. But I think you just have to look back and be like, okay, you know what? That's what I did. How am I going to grow from this? How am I going to move on from this? How am I going to be better from this? I do think people can change, right? So I think that, it's not about your past. It's about your future. It's about what you will become. It's not about who you are currently or what you've done. It's about who you will become. And I think that's huge. And yeah, you're going to stumble along the way, but you're going to make progress. Like even if you fall back 2 steps, you take 5 forward, you still move forward 3 steps. You know what I mean? And you just keep doing that. Next thing you know, you're 100 steps forward.
Knowing you since what? I think I then knew you in middle school.
Yeah.
And you've always just been like a very forgiving person. You were always very understanding, and while your jokes were a little bit, out of pocket sometimes, and we get along in those, those jokes.
Yeah.
You never talk bad about people behind their backs. You've never. I've never heard you talk negatively about people, and you've always just been very positive when it comes to talking about people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are cases, right, where it's very justified, and that's kind of, I feel like that's kind of your code. But
Yeah.
who taught you that? Like, are there any role models, and right, and maybe there be God, right? But are there people that you see that have embodied God, right, and in your life that have taught you all these lessons?
I wouldn't say one individual.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of maybe a collective of people that have taught me, or that I've learned from. The biggest thing I think is, I mean, not to say that I've never talked shit behind someone's back. Like,
Right.
everyone
Perfect.
has.
Everyone
like,
has it. No, but you're actually, compared to others, because I talk to a lot of people.
Yeah,
I'm pretty popular. You know?
I know.
But I know you. The times I can remember in my head when I did initiate talking smack about people, you tell me, hey, you know, this person's doing this. You got to think positively, and I'm like, I really do appreciate that,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like that kind of stemmed from something.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like
Well, it's like, don't talk shit to talk shit.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna talk shit, make it funny. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm gonna pull a joke just for fun, it's because I'm pulling a joke.
Tony.
You know, like it's just it doesn't really mean anything. It's just something for a quick laugh. Like, I'm sure who doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like, you know, there's no need to just. I feel like there's no need to talk shit to talk shit. Think about me. Like, how would I feel if somebody talked like that about me? Or, you know, I'm not a great person either. Like, why are we talking shit about this person? Look at them. Look what they're doing. Try and be happy for them. I feel like it's like you said, their success is your success, even if you don't like them. Yeah, I know, but it's hard.
Is it uncomfortable to look within sometimes? Like introspection? Do you do any of that?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I mean, I feel like yourself in your mind is like
what got you into it?
Difficult thing. Well, like looking inward.
Introspection, yeah.
Jesus.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
What does Jesus mean to you?
Everything. I mean, he's basically. I don't need to get all the way in, but basically, you know, he's everything. He's your best friend. You know, he's basically your father. Like, well, God's father, but he loves you, and knowing that you're loved, even though you're a sinner, and, you know, maybe not a great person. Like, I had a lot of guilt and shame from stuff that, you know, just to kind of, I didn't think I was a bad person, but like, I felt wrong, and I felt like my heart was being weighed down, doing whatever I was doing in my life, going on with that. I felt bad, and I needed a way out, and he was that way out, and just kind of changed everything. And it's really, I mean, I feel like my life is better now than it ever was, and I feel like it'll only continue to get better the longer I get with him. And now I have him at all times. If I fall down, he'll help pick me back up. If I have something on my mind, he'll help me out with it. You know what I mean? I don't need to stress anymore. I used to be so anxious and stressful. You remember that?
I do.
Dude, I used to like have heart issues. I was so stressed. The volleyball took over my life, man. And now I'm like, there's something bigger than me in volleyball. Life's bigger than volleyball, you know? Like, and he helped show me that. So that's kind of, you know what I mean? Like, that's, having God in your life is huge. So, I think, for me, I think for everyone, but for me, recently, yeah, it's awesome.
I think Jesus is just a perfect being. He's just like he to be able to sacrifice yourself, even though there are people that are throwing rocks at you and spreading lies, and they want to hurt you, and they don't believe you, even though you're trying to lead them to truth, and you know what's better for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you still forgive them in the end. I think that's just the most the most
he took everyone's
beautiful thing.
Everyone's sin, bro. Guys were trying to kill him, persecute him, talking smack, throwing rock. You know, they were, and he forgives them. Like, he loved them that much, and I feel like what is greater than that? What is stronger? What is a stronger personification than that man right there? You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy. Like, I want to. I should strive to be like him as much as I can. You know what I mean? Obviously, that's a lot harder said than done. You know, but I feel like, yeah, exactly. I think having that forgiveness is huge. Like I said, life's about forgiveness. He is the definition of forgiveness. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
What comes to your mind when you are in such a when you're so honed in into the struggle, right? And it's just you don't you're in the dark, and you said that you're much happier now. And I mean, do you believe in that a rock bottom is needed to be able to appreciate life?
I don't think rock bottom, because I don't think I was ever at rock bottom. Like I had a blessed life. I have a blessed life. You know, I come from a good home, good family. You know, I'm not very super poor. Like I have, you know, like I can live my life. I have friends. I'm at university. I'm playing volleyball, the sport I love. Good people around me. Like I have a blessed life, even though if I was feeling like garbage mentally, I still have that. Like that, I feel like that's not a rock bottom. I feel like people can have what I had mentally and nothing. You know what I mean? Like way worse. That's rock bottom. I don't feel like I've hit rock bottom, and I don't feel like you ever need to hit a rock bottom. There just needs to be something. Maybe I definitely feel like there needs to be something that needs you to click. It's never gonna be like this. You're never just gonna go up. It's gonna be, you know, and if you hit a steep drop, maybe that's the tipping point, or maybe this much time, and then at this time period, you're gonna switch it and go up. You know what I mean? I think, yeah, I think that. Yeah.
And how does gratitude play into your life? Do you have like a journal, or do you count your blessings? And
Well, I what was that? What was that thing you said just before? Okay, well, whatever. I think obviously. Oh, I'm happier now. I am happier now in a general sense, but I'm not happy all the time. I mean,
you still have your bad days.
oh, absolutely. I have bad periods. Like there's months, weeks, whatever at a time where it's like, damn. But I stay faithful. It's gonna get better. Don't stress. You know, I pray, do whatever I need to do, and it works out. And like that's what I'm talking about better. It's consistency rather than being in the dumps. You know, if I go down, I'll be brought back up. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
When the barbarians come, and they do come, and like Bryce mentioned, right? You mentioned that you're happy generally, right? But then you have these bad days, or you have like these days where you're tested, and I think we're all tested, right? Every single day there's a test, whether you do something, you don't, and you have a choice whether you're gonna check up on a friend, and whether you go to practice. Maybe you like, what kind of attitude do you carry there?
Exactly. Well, just to briefly go on that, when you say attitude that I carry, and like I said, I'm generally happier now. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm actually no different than I was in my first year of university when I was at maybe my lowest. But the difference is I'm thankful for every day. Every day I go, thank you for today. Every day. Great day, I'm thankful for today. Horrible day, shit happens.
What if
shit hits the fan, I'm thankful for today.
What if but
that
you're so negative. Like if you feel so bad though, why are you thankful for that?
Lessons, teachings, get the bad one out the way. You know what I mean? Like it's I'm thankful for today. Yes, it sucked. This happened, but I'm thankful that it did, because I'm gonna work tomorrow to change that. Or I'm thankful that it did because it made me realize something. Or I'm thankful that it did so that it doesn't happen again. Or you find a way. I'm thankful that it did because at least I'm alive. I'm thankful that I did have today because at least I woke up to a sunny morning. Yes, after that might have been horrible, but at least I came home and watched my show and had some peace. At least I'm alive, kind of thing. You know, you can always find something in every day. Just because you had a bad part or a bad day doesn't mean you have a bad life. Just because you have a bad lunch doesn't mean you have a bad day. You know what I mean? Like, you can always look for something.
What if all you've seen is just bad. Like you grew up in a bad family, you grew up like bad friends, bad people, you're depressed, anxious, rock bottom. How do you get out of that, man?
I mean, I haven't experienced that, so I can't say on it. I mean,
right.
I think, like you said, it just depends on the person. Find out what works for them. See what they need to do. What do they need to, sometimes finding a hobby. I don't know. I can't say too much on that. I'm just unaware.
Yeah, I still don't have the answers. I always like when I see people that are unfortunate. I see like walk around White Ave, or maybe when you're driving and you see that person holding a cardboard, or like near Christmas, or even any day the year, man, and they look hungry and they look lost and they I don't think there's anyone that loves them. I see that and I go, man, like I want to help that person, right? But even then, some days I can't even help myself, right? And I want to spread the word of God, right? I want to spread this idea of being long term. We just don't have all the answers, right? And I think that's a part of life. I think those people need to get into their heads that life will never be perfect. Like
no.
To attain perfection is just a false reality. It's just not real.
But the strive to get there,
the effort, man. Yeah. Can you, when I say effort, right? Is that what comes to mind, right? In your life, what does that mean to you?
Well, effort's important, right? In anything you do and everything you do, just like discipline, right? They kind of go hand in hand, right? It's the effort you put in. How bad do you want something? How bad do you want to change? How bad do you want this goal, this dream? How bad do you want those grades? Things like that, right? So effort, discipline, it all plays a part. Obviously, you can do effort. Like you can be like, I'm gonna practice really hard this week and blah blah blah. Great, good. But like, is that gonna get you there? No, you gotta be consistent with the effort. You can't just practice really hard for 1 week. You gotta practice really hard every week. So I don't know. For effort, I'd say you gotta be consistent with it. I know me in my career, like I'm inconsistent with effort. Some practices I'm locked in, we're cooking. Some practices I'm kind of lazy. It just depends. So consistency for sure.
Yeah. What would you say to someone who is a student athlete? It's their first year, maybe second, and they are struggling to keep up. They don't have confidence in themselves. They're stressed about school as well. They're trying to find out who they are. They don't really know who they are.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone like that?
If it's a sport related issue, like if you're feeling not good enough, if you're feeling I'm not playing, if you're feeling I'm struggling, something in that region, I'd say just chill. It's gonna be okay. Like I promise you, you are in the best times right now. You shouldn't have very much stress. You're first or second year. You're not expected to be a starter or play. You're not expected to. You know what I mean? It's great if you do, awesome, but you're not expected to. So there's nothing there. You don't need to worry about, obviously it's easier said than done. You don't need to worry about how you're performing in practice. You're first or second year, still adjusting. You still got 3, 4, and 5 left, or 3 and 4. Like you got time. Like you'll learn, you'll get used to it, you'll get experience, and then there'll be a point where you've been doing it so much where it's like second nature. I mean, for me, it took me all 4 years to actually lock in on my 5th year. I started in year 3 and 4 and 5, but still, like, I was a much better player in year 5 than I was in 3 and 4 because I just kind of, at that point, it's like, I've done this. I've been doing this. What do I have to worry about, So, yeah, and if it's with school, I mean, obviously you got to weigh out your priorities. What's more important, student athlete? Me personally, I'm an athlete student, so I kind of switch them. But, yeah, it's like whatever is bothering you, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Work at it. It'll come. It takes time. It's not going to happen in a day. It's not going to happen in a week. It takes time. It's 1% better every day.
Every day. Those habits, so they create discipline, and discipline creates consistency. But yeah, bro, I want to wrap up with that. I just want to say, I want to let it be known to everyone that this guy, I'm so tremendously blessed to have him in my life.
Sorry.
You see, this Mary was telling me about that, but bro, I was like, like, I didn't know it at the time, but I was struggling a lot, man. And you came in my life, and you were like, I had been surrounded by just bad things, and my mind was just in the dumps, and while on the external side, I felt like I was huge, like for that time.
Mm,
I felt great, externally, right?
mm,
But I think inside I was lacking kind of like that kind of code, the person to encourage me. And then when you came and we hit it off, like I felt so something got unlocked, and it put me in this path of just self-improvement and wanting others to be better, because I see the way you interact with others. I see, the way you can be so dialed in and so like uh passionate about your interests. I've kind of embodied a lot of your music, kind of your behaviors, and
mm.
dude, it's kind of like, even with faith, like it's kind of really catalyzed my faith journey. And I feel like you have this gift, bro, of just, making, like, being a leader. And this is just the beginning, man. Like, I think
Yeah,
we're still kids, at the end of
yeah,
the, like, we still got
yeah.
this long decades ahead of us. Hell, maybe a century, man. And I want to thank you for coming to this podcast and
Yeah,
being my best friend, and being just an like,
yeah.
you give me hope for humanity. Yeah, bro.
Nah, don't say that.
Yeah, no, you do, man.
Thank
You
but
do.
no.
You do.
But no, the same's going for you. I know. Obviously, this little guy, I asked him to play League of Legends with me during COVID, and he goes, "Okay, I need a duo partner. And I carry him
Wow.
all the way up to platinum. Anyway, it's a video game thing. Anyway, and then we start talking, and then maybe I helped him out to start, but then when I got to know him and got to be friends with you, man, like it's gone both ways. Like, definitely, you've changed my life as well. I look at you now, I'm like, damn, like that guy. You got, like, yeah. I wish I could be doing like stuff that you're doing all the time, man. Like, I take it like running. I beat this guy in a 5K, by the way.
Never again. Never again.
I cooked him in a 5K. I don't even run.
Oh my gosh.
Soft.
I stopped the video. Add the vitality on Instagram.
Anyway, but yeah, man, I look up to you too. Everything, the discipline, the long termness, it's good, and it goes a long way. So I'm grateful for you. For sure.
We gotta do this more often, man.
Yeah.
And as always, everyone, keep it long term. Pray for peace.
Pray for peace. Get your money up, not your funny up.
God bless.
I still have to correct. Get your money up, man. You might.